Ben from SCMH, and we're going to talk to you today about planned maintenance services. Through the years, SCMH has worked with hundreds of companies and performed thousands of PMs, and we feel that our customers needed a better understanding of what planned maintenance service really is. So we're bringing you a few of these topics today. Like an annual trip to your physician, a well thought out planned maintenance agreement with a reputable service company can dramatically increase the longevity of your equipment while reducing the cost. When searching for a company to do your PM service, beware of the teaser price. Particularly during times when budgets are strained, it is easy to take the bait on low price introductory PM rates. Statistics show that it takes a minimum of 1 hour to perform a proper PM on IC or electric rider units and 30 minutes on a walkie. As for the stated hourly labor rate or your prospective provider, if the math doesn't pan out, something is going to suffer, and it's usually the amount of care paid to your forklift. When you're selecting a company to do your PM service, ask to see the PM inspection form that the company is going to use. If one does not exist, then it's likely that your forklifts are not being inspected and maintained properly. Have someone do an occasional random inspection to be sure grease is getting where it's supposed to and inspections are being done properly. Remember, you spend tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on the assets, and you not only want to get the most out of them, your goal is to minimize maintenance costs. It is something very simple that people don't really think about, and it's pretty much just a form of record keeping. Well, when you're interviewing your service provider, ask them what their completion rates are, because if they can't provide you that information, then more than likely they're not keeping tabs on your forklifts. I mean, you want a service technician to come out, do a complete PM, document everything, and follow up with that. When you're trying to choose a service provider to service your forklifts, why not ask for referrals? You have a lot riding on your forklift fleet every day. Productivity and employee safety are at the top of the list. There's no better way to find out what kind of service to expect from your prospective service provider than to ask their current customers. Get a short list of 3 to 4 customers and give them a call. How planned maintenance reduce costs? It's like the old saying, you can pay me now or pay me later. The small problems turn into big problems if they're not addressed. Let's face it, our forklifts operate in less than ideal atmospheric conditions. Dirt can wreak havoc on oils, which wreaks havoc on the internal parts of the engine, which is why it is so important, just like your automobile, to change your engine oil and oil filter. Tires that are worn or damaged can increase rolling resistance and in turn uses more fuel and it increases costs. When your forklift breaks down, ultimately it's decreased productivity, which increase costs. At least if you can get the product from the shelf to the back of the truck and out to the customer, the company's making money. If your forklift's down, you're not doing that. During the PM service, if a technician finds a small part broken, generally it's quicker and easier to replace it. If you ignore the small parts being broken, it can lead to more expensive parts, bigger parts breaking, which leads to increased cost for the repair. Sometimes the repair gets so bad that we have to bring it to the shop and the costs just add up from there. OSHA recommends it. From a safety standpoint, making sure that your forklifts are operating safely is important. As part of OSHA's regulation for forklifts, preventive or planned maintenance is recommended. Ignoring this recommendation can be costly in the event of a workplace accident due to parts that give way or an operator that slips on or around equipment due to lack of maintenance. It's not only the fines that can result, but the legal costs and undoubtedly will incur if a company has not followed the recommendations of OSHA. There's so much more to PM. It's not just about the oil change, it's about figuring the whole health of the forklift. If you don't do them, down the road, you're gonna run into bigger problematic issues, which ultimately cost more money. SCMH, this is how our PM process works. As the technician gets the truck and gets ready to do the PM service, they'll initially do a visual inspection around the truck. And that consists of something as simple as a seat belt working properly, The lights on the dashboard lighting up properly. Your work lights lighting up. If it doesn't work, it has to be fixed. Along with the visual inspection, they will check the tires, the lug bolts, because these lug bolts do come loose and vibrate off. And they'll check the mast, make sure it's functioning properly. They'll make sure your hoses are in good condition, make sure the lift chains are adjusted properly. They'll also check to make sure your forks are in good working order, because a lot of times forks drag right here on the heel, they get thin, and in my 22 years as a service technician, I have seen forks break, and when they break, it's very quickly. Make sure your tilt cylinders are adjusted properly. Once again, more tires to check out. Make sure your floorboards are here. The technician will make sure the data plate's in place. You have safety decals that warn riders of what the truck's capabilities are. And there's also safety decals here that say like no riders. Once again back here, the visual inspection, check tires. There's steering linkage in there to check. There's greasers to grease. You have a radiator in here that if it's leaking coolant, you'll see it leaking down. There's hydraulic hoses back here. The visual inspection, you can see if they're leaking. It's just part of the PM process. Just make sure that the counterweight, it has a couple big bolts in the back. If the bolts are loose, the counterweight can move around and cause excessive wear.
Okay.
And a very important feature is the operator's manual. You want to make sure that's on there. So if there's any questions about the unit, the operator can pull the manual out, flip through it, maybe get some questions answered, and put it back in. When you're choosing a service provider for planned maintenance for your forklifts, be sure to ask a lot of questions. Because if you have forklifts like these pallet jacks and you use them in heavy, dusty, dirty conditions, you want to service them more than if you're using them in a light, clean application that might not even be running a day. Two different applications. Think about when selecting PM service provider is why not go visit the facility. Go check out the shop area, see how clean and neat it is. Meet the people that be working on the forklifts. See how they document everything. At SCMH, we perform thousands of PMs every year, so we know what it takes to optimize a planned maintenance program. We can customize and tailor a planned maintenance program to meet the individual needs of a customer. So feel free to give us a call or visit us, www.scmh.com.